Hello everybody, this is What If Deku Was a Vigilante, Part 3. Here we go. After his really second night being a vigilante, he goes out every day, at least keeping an eye on the streets. Each day he at least takes down one mugger. But in the past, it's been 8 days since he started, and today has been his busiest because today he's already stopped 27 muggings. 7 in the past 1 hour and 29 minutes. It's not even been a full hour and 30 minutes. And Izuku says, "Oh boy, I don't think I have the endurance for all this. Hey, better I do this, the more chances I have being able to pass the UA entrance exam." And he sees a villain breaking into a grocery store, and he says, "One thing is that we need more pros at night, because it seems like there's no more villains at night." And Izuku goes in and sees one of his favorite pros, Eraserhead, in there. And he sees Eraserhead surrounded. And one thing that Izuku's added to his repertoire is a few weapons that he found in the dumpster. In the dump of Godoba Beach. For example, it's a mishmash of water hoses, this is hose, and a few other gadgets from different heroes. That he's gotten pretty good, besides a few mishaps on using. And he uses this liquid he made that basically acts like it's a mix of a solid and a liquid, where if you step in it, it's a liquid, but if it hits you, let's just say it's a solid that feels like steel. And Izuku fires this at the villains, and the villains fall down, and Eraserhead sees green. Or what people are now calling him, the Green Shadow. Because the only two things that, besides the description they can get, is the fact that no pro hero has ever seen him, besides right now. And Izuku walks in and says, "Eraserhead, I believe you need help, and there's a lot of them here today." And as Eraserhead says, "Kid, for the love of everything in this world, please tell me you're not doing this with barely any experience." "I would say I'm not inexperienced, Eraserhead-san." And Eraserhead's just not even surprised at this point that the Green Shadow knows his hero name. And for the next few hours, Izuku and Aizawa fight over 20 villains. And yes, Izuku is not as good as Aizawa, but he's learning quick. And Izuku tries to catch his breath after a good few hours of fighting. It didn't have a decent swarm of villains. And says, as Eraserhead says, "That's pretty good for a vigilante that's only been around for barely a week. That's been around for around a week and a day." Eraserhead, kid, I'm not going to detain you, because, honestly, you saved my butt there. As much as I do not want to admit it, you saved my butt there. Also, the fact that, technically speaking, I haven't seen you use a quirk. So, that's also an issue. Oh. So that means I can go? No, we're going to head to the station to have you. I'm going to ask you a few questions as a station, though. No thank you. And Izuku books it. And Aizawa says, well, damn it. Which I thought that would work. Because, technically speaking, Aizawa doesn't have any legal standing to detain in the Green Shadow. Because, well, technically speaking, what he is doing is not illegal. Because Aizawa has not seen in the Green Shadow use a quirk, so that means he cannot be charged with vigilantism. Also, the fact that they're also in a public place, so you can't even charge him with trespassing. Also, the fact that his little gunk thing disappears over after a minute, so that means that he can't even charge him with littering, even though that's the pettiest reason. So, Eraserhead says, well, I have more important things to think about instead of a vigilante that is a curiosity. And Izuku says, oh goodness, hopefully Eraserhead doesn't hate me for that. But anyway, time to help more people. And Izuku, this is the night that he becomes more well known to the police. It's because this is the fact that he has taken down over 50 villains by himself. Yes, in separate fights, but still. And also the fact that he tends to adapt to situations. And Eraserhead says, yes, it's my full report, Sakachi. So you're telling me that this kid was capable of doing all this with what looked like parts that he found in a dump? I think so. I'm not completely sure. Okay. Anyway, we've cataloged and processed every villain that he and you have dealt with tonight. So go home. Tomorrow I'm going to have a thing for Green Shadow, because I would like to have him questioned because I want him off the street. I would like him off the streets. And Eraserhead says, well, I'm going to head to bed. And Eraserhead goes to bed. And later after school, because it's a Friday, the event happened on a Thursday, Izuku at night sees the fact that there isn't as many villains compared to yesterday, but still there's a decent amount. And Izuku's gotten pretty good. And also the fact that, weirdly enough, it's not the fact he has a quirk, but he's curious on how his body is gaining muscle, not ridiculous, not inhumanly, well, feels like a little bit inhumanly quickly, but not stupidly and quickly. For example, he's always been able to heal quickly, but it's never been classified as a quirk. So he goes to who the internet and Google's "Why do I have stuff not compared to my quirk?" And Izuku reads, "Mutations not based on quirk factor." And he reads that many people have different mutations that may not even revolve their quirk at all. For example, a trait from their grandparents, their parents, or etc. A quirkless individual, for example, hypothetically, can have ears that work similar, can have rabbit ears, but still be classified as quirkless because they have no quirk factor. Izuku says, "Interesting, so..." And Izuku Googles how can you get this tested, and goes and sees that there is a place that only charges 10,000 yen, and to get tested if you have a mutation not based on quirk factor. And Izuku, during the day, after school, goes to this clinic, and basically he puts his ID down and says, "Can I get checked for partial mutation abilities?" And the employee at the register says, "You're quirkless." Technically, the policy does not disqualify people without quirks, even though, technically speaking, I highly doubt you have anything. And Izuku gets tested, and Izuku has two things going for him. Is the fact that he has mutated tear glands that have the capability of producing more water to the point where it can flood an area of a apartment in under 2 seconds, under a minute. Also, he has altered stamina and strength, where he can gain in strength / muscle faster than the average person, and the fact that he can gain stamina than the average person. And the scientist says, "Interesting. So basically, he has Interesting. And Izuku grabs the lab results and says, "Can I keep this private?" And the scientist says, "Yes, we can. Thanks to the fact you mention it. Legally speaking, we have to if you request it." And Izuku says, "Why sound down? You're honestly one of the first people to actually attend this. And this and the fact you're quirkless yourself. Elf is honestly a good bone for the project, because many people think this isn't true, but it is. For example, your mutated tear glands, and this is a great example. And I presume you said that your mother has them as well. And yes, hair color is an old example of it. You don't need a quirk to have different hair colors that are not completely natural. For example, people have bubblegum pink hair and may not even relate to their quirk nowadays. But back in the day, just having pink hair would have been considered a meta ability or quirk, if you go farther enough in history. And this scientist explains the fact that with his research, he believes that anyone, unless born with quirkless family throughout, has the chance of having a mutation in their bloodline. For example, if a hero similar to Miriko has children, they'll have a very, very high chance of having rabbit ears, even if it doesn't relate to their quirk. Nezuko says, interesting. What would you say would be the easiest for me to build up speed and muscle? Oh, pretty simple. Just work out, run more, and I'd say eat a decent diet. Because apparently someone in your... Wait a minute. He reads something else and says, you have a decent, like, I wouldn't say high resistance, but a decent-ish resistance to fire / anything involved in heat as well. Okay, that makes some sense. And Izuku thinks about it and thinks, yeah, burns heal faster than in frost. Because at least with him, he's always has been burned by Bakugo enough times to realize how quickly a normal burn will heal. For example, the burn he got on the day Bakugo told him to take Swan Dive took him only 3 days to heal completely. And Izuku says, how is this not considered a quirk? And the guy says, you do not have any quirk factor, meaning the fact that you have these mutations doesn't matter. You are considered quirkless. Classless. But anyway, if you want to ask more questions, you can. And here's my phone number. Here's my phone number. And he puts his card there, and Izuku says, thank you, sir. And Izuku leaves and says, interesting. Very, very interesting. And Izuku heads home and sleeps for his patrol for at night. And that is end of part 3 of What If Deku was a vigilante. I know I am using many different things from different fic authors. And if anyone wants to mention in the comments anything I'm doing, please tell me. But I am trying my best to make my own ideas. Anyway, please like and subscribe, and thank you.